What's good, guys? Welcome back to another episode of No Capes Required. And oh man, not again. We've got Doug Gardner back again, back to back.
The crowd goes crazy.
Yeah, from three. Yeah, it's great to have you back, man. Thanks again for joining the show.
Thanks for having me, man.
And let's just get right into it. So the first official trailer has premiered for X-Men Dark Phoenix. There was a teaser a few months ago, but this is the first official trailer. And since now that we are seeing the first official trailer, what did you think? What stood out to you?
Well, officially, I don't know. I'm a little worried. The past X-Men movies, they haven't been bad at all, but they haven't been as stand out. If I were to rate all of them, they would all be in the same area. You know what I mean? I'm just hoping that this X-Men movie will be a standout. Right now, I have a bar set for them because Logan was so good, so dynamic, kind of outside of the realm that they usually are. Yeah. I expect this movie to either be where Logan was or better. How do you feel?
Yeah, no. Look, Logan is a extremely high bar to match, and I think any of you that have seen the movie just know that Logan was such a unique movie, I would say, because first off, we got to see the first, the untamed version of Wolverine, the rated R form, but as well it brought in some, just a great story, and that's why he was nominated for Best Adapted Screenplay, and then it could have been nominated for Best Picture, to be honest, but that's another story for another day. But with this Dark Phoenix trailer, what I think is really cool about this trailer and about this movie is that the Dark Phoenix is an incredibly powerful entity in the Marvel comic book universe, and really any universe. Yeah. Like, she's just one of the most powerful entities, and what I didn't like about X-Men 3 is that they didn't, I don't feel like they did the Dark Phoenix justice in terms of giving it its own storyline. So in X-Men 3, there were just too many storylines, I feel like, that the Dark Phoenix was sort of a side plot. So with this, now that this movie is going to center around the Dark Phoenix and Jean Grey and her struggle of trying to control it, I feel like it should be good. And this trailer does give me hope, because I was suspect, like you, in terms of this X-Men movie. Just because Apocalypse, I didn't like it. I'm sorry. There was just cool. too many flaws within the movie. I expected more, especially with that type of villain. But with this movie, you're going for a really dark tone, a very interesting tone, and there's just a lot of promise, I would say, for this movie.
Yeah, a real big positive that I think that could be a really good outcome for this movie is Quicksilver. I really enjoyed all scenes Quicksilver was in.
So do I.
Yeah. I was really excited for Quicksilver. He's a funny dude. He adds that comic relief aspect, but it's a little bit like they do it in terms of his speed. Like, remember in the last movie, or which movie was that? That was...
Well, he's been in the last two, so Days of Future Past, and then he also was in Apocalypse.
Right. The scene I'm talking about is Days of Future Past, when they're all in the kitchen.
Yeah.
He just puts on the headphones and just goes. That was iconic. It made me enjoy that film a lot more, and I think he's going to be a dynamic aspect to this movie.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. We could be talking about that Quicksilver scene later in the show. I just hope
they get this right, man.
Yeah.
Like, cause I'm at a point, if they mess up any more with X-Men, I wouldn't mind them retaring it for a little bit and then bringing it back within 10 years, 10 years, something like that.
But I think one thing that we should address, because everybody's sort of addressing it, is there could be a possible spoiler that the trailer did touch on, or the trailer did show. And what we're talking about is, and go ahead and we'll probably show the trailer as we're talking about it, but the trailer showed Mystique sort of being blown back, and the trailer starts with Jean Grey basically saying, like, almost talking to herself, or talking to the Phoenix, like, why did you do that? She was my best friend, or she was one of my friends. And later in the shot, we see a grave. So somebody died, it looks like,
Somebody.
and the X-Men, like, Beast and Professor X are surrounding the grave, as well as some other person under an umbrella. We don't know who.
So what you're saying is that they may have spoiled and alluded to the fact that Mystique might be gone?
Yes, that's what I'm saying. So, do you feel like that is the case, or is this just bait? They're just trying to, like, troll us here.
It's really hard to tell. Honestly, if I throw in a little plot twist at my own, this could be like whoever edited the video.
Yeah.
Maybe there just wasn't enough depth for the movie to take important information and put it in a trailer. So he was just like, well, I'm just going to choose the kind of like the most iconic scenes to get people to come see this movie. That would be crazy.
That's not
just
a good sign. That's not, that wouldn't be a good sign.
Just a theory. Not saying that it is or anything, but that could be a case.
No, yeah, definitely. And that's something that's a mind blower and could, possibly be the truth. But I will say, I feel like this has to be bait, just because I don't feel like they would spoil that big. Just because Mystique is a huge character in this new X-Men universe.
Yeah.
Like, in this X-Men series, she's been, like, I would say, one of the 3 primary characters.
They followed her story in depth.
Charles Xavier, Magneto, and her. Like, those are the 3 main characters for this new generation of X-Men.
Yeah.
And the fact that, or old generation, I mean, whatever you want to say, but these new X-Men movies, she's one of the 3 protagonists. And so to kill her off would be a huge spoiler. I mean, if they really spoiled it in the trailer, I don't feel like they would do something like that. Unless, like you said, the movie's just not that good, so they want to bring in something, so they're like, yeah, we're going to kill one of our major characters and we're going to show you so that you want to see how it ends, even though, I mean, there wouldn't be any spoil because then we would know that the Phoenix would kill them. But,
right.
I mean, so it's interesting.
Phoenix is hard to beat. Phoenix, like you said, is like top 10 cosmic entities. It's in all the parallel universes. It's like omnipotent.
So how would they beat them? Because
you would have to lock away Jean, but it might find a new host. You know what I'm saying?
Is there a member of the X-Men? Do you feel like who would be most key?
Just dude, Charles. Charles would be key.
Yeah.
Or like a mind reader, someone that could distract her at least mentally.
Yeah.
And he definitely won't be able to beat her alone.
Yeah,
definitely would not be able to beat Charles.
Hold on. You did mention Quicksilver. Yeah. Quicksilver is fast enough to basically run past anybody. Would he beat you?
I don't think so. She admits she's a Phoenix. Fire.
Yeah.
She admits energy. I don't even think he could get close. And it's not like
They showed in the trailer he's trying to get to her.
She's just going poof, slap him away. I do think you can. To beat Phoenix, you would have to beat them as a team. It would have to be kind of like the X-Men coordinated versus Phoenix. It couldn't be just one-on-one battles. They need to have simultaneously coordinated attacks. That's the only way they can beat Phoenix. That's the only way.
So the 91st Academy Awards occurred last weekend, and there were many surprises that night, but a few good surprises, I would say, was the fact that superhero movies were racking up some wins. So there were 4 Oscars won by superhero movies. Now, 3 were from one movie, and that was Black Panther. Got nominated 7 times, won 3 of them, which were for Best Production Design, Best Costume Design, and Best Original Score. The other was from Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, who won for Best Animated Feature, beating out, another superhero movie, The Incredibles 2, which was also up for that nomination.
It's a good movie.
Yeah, no, both were great movies.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, we do have to mention this. Jason Reyes in episode 2, as some of you remember, said that Black Panther was guaranteed to win Best Picture. Well, sorry, Jason, that did not happen. Green Book won Best Picture, and that's that was a complete surprise for a lot of people, and a discussion for another day. But focusing, for focusing on these superhero films and getting 4 wins. Mm-hmm. What is the reaction to that, and what does that say for superhero films going forward, do you think?
Superhero movies might need their own category.
Ooh, okay.
they might just need it because honestly, because there will be a point where the excitement for superhero movies fall off.
Yeah.
But for right now, superhero movies are really beating out all your standard movies that usually, or standard genres that usually take home these type of awards.
Yeah.
I think a lot more people are starting to recognize I don't know if importance is the best word to use, but the the gravity of having superhero movies and having good superhero movies.
Mm-hmm.
People love that enjoyment. People love superhero movies. As for the future, I think we're going to see a lot more superhero adaptations. A lot more kind of jumping out on a limb like a Deadpool or like a Captain Marvel or Shazam. We're going to see a lot more movies of comic book heroes that we don't usually see on the big screen.
Looking ahead now to 2019 or the next Oscars and the 2019 movies for this year, are there any that you could see generating any Oscar buzz? Whether that's for Best Picture or some acting categories. Is there any movies coming up that you feel like that could be?
Does Endgame count?
Yeah, it does.
Endgame, I think, could be one that gets that. Well, you said the Best Picture, right? Or
Best Picture or acting, any major categories,
yeah. I definitely think Endgame is going to. I think it's going to generate that type of buzz. I think a lot of people are waiting for this movie, and I just think the direction that they've done, they put a lot of work into this series, right? Into this Marvel Cinematic Universe. I don't think they're going to leave anything out to a point to where people like kind of are questioning whether or not it is a deserving 4 awards. So I do think Endgame, Avengers Endgame is going to generate some type of nominations and will get a lot of wins.
Endgame really is, like you said, almost the culmination, and even I think the directors have said that, and Feige has said this, the culmination of the MCU as we know it.
Right.
Not saying that the MCU movies are going to stop, because I mean we obviously got Far From Home this summer as well. But and then that starts up kind of the next chapter, Phase 4. But what it means by the culmination of the MCU as we know it is that there are certain, let's put the air out, there probably will be certain characters that aren't going to be there going forward.
Right.
And these storylines in the main Avengers, and I mean like the core Avengers, meaning Captain America, Iron Man, Thor, Hulk, Black Widow, even Hawkeye. So those guys really are like kind of the core team, and that team, I guess what they're saying going forward, might not be necessarily as prevalent in the MCU. Not saying that all those guys are going to be written off or dead or whatever.
That's understandable though. Yeah. Because a lot of those actors have been doing this for so long. They want to get out and do some other things. They're just stuck in this, which isn't a bad place to be stuck in.
No, it makes bank like every
so much money. But I do understand. I can definitely see Iron Man being one of those being retired after Endgame, which I don't really like, but. Because I love Robert Downey Jr.'s character but I can understand it.
But I guess another movie I think we should talk about is Captain Marvel. So Captain Marvel is the first MCU-led female superhero movie, and it has an actress that has won an Academy Award before in Brie Larson for Best Actress. So could we see any Oscar play for Captain Marvel?
That's a tough one. A tough one. This is a new superhero. I didn't really follow Carol Danvers in the comic books as much. So I don't really know too much of it. As the only really thing I know of her that's a guaranteed thing is that she is the second adaptation of Captain Marvel. I think it was Marvel first, correct?
Yeah. So Marvel, I think, who's in the movie is like Jude Law. He was like the original Captain Marvel, and she got his powers transferred. It's almost like she has a very Green Lantern-esque backstory, because she's a pilot and she gets her powers from an alien. So it's very Green Lantern-esque. Not saying
very creative.
Not saying they stole that idea or anything like that, but Captain Marvel is an interesting character. I'm getting more into it before, because in the comics she's more of a team player, not necessarily getting her own comic book series as much as, or getting as many comics made about her as some other heroes. At least early on, I would say. So, seeing her on the big screen, I feel like that actually helps her. Because people don't know as much about her, they're interested to find out. And I would say even with Black Panther, he's more well known, but there were even some people that didn't know necessarily his backstory or anything like that, and I think they were more intrigued to find out. So I feel like that will help Captain Marvel. But ultimately, I'm not sure if even Endgame, I'm wondering, will get nominated for Best Picture or even Captain Marvel, just because here's a problem I have with the Oscars. And sorry if anybody from the Academy is listening to this, but
Hey, man.
But what I have is that they always look for certain types of movies, and they're often always serious, and they focus on serious discussions, which I don't mind. I love great serious
But that's
movies,
almost like a bias.
yeah, no, it's like a really good movie, a great movie that's fun, often doesn't get nominated. And I would say Black Panther was a great movie that was fun, but I think the difference of why it got nominated is because it had some quote-unquote Oscar elements, or elements that Oscar films pay attention to, like politics, like race, like cultural divide. So those types of things, Oscars, they love that stuff. So the fact that a superhero movie would have that, they're going to latch onto it. Captain Marvel, other than the fact that she is, the MCU's first female lead hero, I'm not sure it has any of the Oscar elements that they're looking for. It's going to be a very fun movie. I think it's going to be a great movie, but I'm not sure if it's going to be Oscar worthy.
Right.
Endgame is interesting because that is a culmination of films. So if they nominated that for Best Picture, I feel like they would be nominating it because, obviously I think it's going to be a great movie, but I think, one of the main reasons would be sort of like a celebration of the MCU at that point, because it is the culmination of the MCU.
Avengers was the start of this grandeur, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Avengers was what brought people in to be like non-comic book fans.
Yeah.
This is exactly what they got into. So for this to be the finale, this should bring in a whole bunch of people. I think some records are going to be broken with this.
So ultimately, final prediction, you think
Endgame is going to get some awards. Captain Marvel probably not.
So Doug, I think everybody secretly wishes they had their own comic book.
I don't care what anybody says. My life is a comic book.
Yeah, everybody, maybe, yeah, exactly. But, for Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, that dream is now a reality. So the newly elected U.S. Congresswoman stars as a sassy superhero in an upcoming book titled Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez and the Freshman Force. New party, who dis? Great title, by the way. But the comic book was created by Josh Blaylock of Devil's Due Comics and depicts Ocasio-Cortez as a Washington-busting superhero. Bustling, yeah. So regardless of your political affiliation, I feel like that's pretty cool just for anybody to get their own comic book. And like we said, I think we would love our own comic books or anything. Yeah,
I would love my own comic books. I give myself every power.
Exactly. But sort of, I guess, in that mindset, we were thinking about what celebrities would have a good comic book series, or a good comic book just in general.
Well, first that comes to mind, since I listen to a lot of hip hop, I would probably choose Drake. Now, I was debating between Drake or Jay-Z, but I ultimately chose Drake because I feel like his superpower would be kind of like Mystique's. He can change depending on the situation. So I'll give you an example. Okay, so we have comeback season Drake, or around that time period where he's like seducing the ladies, he's singing, you know what I'm saying? But then we got hardcore Drake, the guy that goes at Meek Mill.
Yeah. That could also almost be like an awakening. I mean, sort of going from American comic books to manga, but sort of like his Super Saiyan moment. He charges up, and then back to back is like Super Saiyan 2 or something like that. I mean,
but then he also has like different accents. He got his Jamaican. He has Jamaican Drake. He has British Drake. He has, I think he did a Spanish song in Spanish. He has Spanish Drake.
Yeah.
Like, Drake can just change his abilities depending on what song he is.
Yeah.
He's versatile. He's in a lot of beefs, a lot of good villain versus hero episodes.
Yeah.
You could do Pusha T and Drake, or you could do Meek Mill and Drake. There's a lot of good battles you could do with him. Even Jay-Z, he threw some shots at Jay-Z before. Like, I think it would just be a fun comic. What about you?
Yeah, no, definitely. So there were two people that came to my mind when, thinking about comic books. And, both are athletes, actually.
Okay.
One, I think, is probably the most recognizable female athlete in the world, Serena Williams.
Ooh.
Just because, I feel like everybody knows who she is, and when you think of just female athletes in general, she's one of the first you think of. And I would say her status and her dominance is so much that not only is she, in my opinion, the greatest female athlete of all time, she is up there as one of the greatest athletes, period. And some people even say that, my brother even said that she is the greatest. That's a discussion for another day. But, she's definitely, the GOAT of tennis, and she's just an amazing athlete. And her story, especially with Venus, that would be kind of cool. And I might maybe make like a sort of a comic with both of them, just the Williams sisters.
Especially coming from like Compton, California, in that area.
Yeah.
They've been through a lot. I think that would be a great comic book, man.
No, yeah.
Yeah.
So my other one, and I think that this could have great potential, would be Tom Brady. Because I think, depending on, because he's a very polarizing athlete. So some people see him as a hero, some people see him as a villain. There are people that like him, and there are people that don't like him so much. Mm-hmm. So if you're looking at him from a hero's perspective, his story is kind of like Captain America's. He was very much like, if you look at Tom Brady, he was like a very beanpole of the guy. Yeah. He was a 6th round draft pick.
That's true.
And then he, worked his way up, becoming, greatest quarterback of all time.
He even looked like an athlete.
Yeah, exactly. If you looked at that guy in the scouting combine, it's like, man, this guy's not going anywhere.
He looked like he had a beer belly.
Exactly.
That's a good one.
But now, there are people that kind of see him as almost like a Thanos person, and he has the 6 Infinity Stones. He's got the 6 rings.
Got the 6 rings.
So I just feel like you could have so much fun writing Tom Brady's story, no matter what perspective you're coming from.
Right.
And now it is time for one of our favorite segments of the week, Twitter question of the week.
Yeah.
And let's revisit last week's Twitter question of the week, as we always do.
Mm-hmm.
So last week it was, who would you most want to see host the Oscars, which happened last weekend? And so the results are in.
Who they pick?
Let's revisit the nominees. So the nominees were Iron Man, Deadpool, Edna, and the Joker. It was a great list, as we both agreed. But the winner with 41% of the vote is Deadpool. Iron Man was a close second with 35%. And then Edna and the Joker both tied for third at 12%.
Oh, wow.
So, any surprises there?
No, not really, because what I really thought was it was going to be between Deadpool and Iron Man, just because of how witty both of them are. Deadpool winning doesn't really surprise me. To me, it could have gone either way, for real.
No, yeah, it was really close. Only like a couple more votes, it could have changed things.
Right.
So no, Iron Man was a very close second, and we definitely predicted that those would probably in a great list, those two would be the front runners.
Right.
So for this week, a little bit changing pace from Oscars to now, workout guys, workout buddies. This week's Twitter question of the week. And you might have already, if you follow at 0Case Required, you might already know. But if you could hire one of these heroes to be your personal trainer for free, who would you choose? And so we've got 4 options here. The first being Captain America. The second being Wolverine. Third, She-Hulk. And fourth, All Might. So I think it's an interesting list, a very cool list. Who are you going with there?
For me, it's between Captain America and All Might, and I'll only choose All Might if I get one for all. Because to me, if All Might is training me and I don't have a similar power to him, there's not much he can really show me outside of like techniques to punch.
Yeah.
If I'm going to somebody and I just need to train with somebody, I don't have any powers, I'm going to Captain America. He knows a lot of martial arts, a lot of experience. The reason I don't really choose Wolverine or She-Hulk is, Wolverine I feel like is more of a hack and slash guy who's been in a lot of wars and stuff, but doesn't know as many martial arts styles as Captain America.
So I think what some of these people are thinking, regardless of like fighting techniques, if you just need to build yourself up in terms of just working out, like trying to build a bigger physique, does that change who you choose? Like, do you
build a bigger physique?
Yeah.
I do Captain America, and I'm gonna tell you why.
Okay.
Because All Might's original power is his bulked up form.
Yeah.
Like originally he's a skinny dude, then his base power is his bulky form, and then he was passed down the one for all. So if I need any type of strength training, I would either go to Captain America or Wolverine.
Look, I think there are 3 really worthy candidates, and Wolverine's. I love Wolverine. I'm not sure I would love him as a personal trainer, only because those other guys, those other 3 are gonna stick with you no matter what.
Yeah, they're nicer.
Wolverine, yeah, I mean, look, Wolverine. I mean, if you're looking for a nice trainer, then Wolverine's not your guy. He would just be like, "Oh, you're hopeless, bub. Get out of my sight."
With a beer in his hand.
Yeah. I'm gonna go drink.
Yeah.
No, yeah, I mean, like, look, I love Wolverine. I just don't know how committed he would be as a trainer. If he is committed, then you'll hate him, but I think he'll get the job done.
Get the job done.
She-Hulk is interesting because she, is a lawyer. I don't know if she, I'm sure she stays fit and everything, but I don't know if she's necessarily quite as, she would be quite as good as Captain America or All Might, who I think are the 2 front runners in this. And I would probably give the edge to All Might, only if, like you said, I get one for all. I think that's sort of like the big thing. Like if you do give a great impression of him, if I get one for all, if I get superpowers and he tells me how to train my quirk, that's pretty awesome. Captain America is going to be very diligent. I mean, you can't really go wrong with either of those guys.
No, you can't. You can't.
So
they're both great leaders.
Exactly. So those are our picks. Let us know what you think. Go vote at 0 Capes Required. But Doug, that's going to do it for this week's episode. Thanks again for coming on the show.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate it. I appreciate being here. Everybody, man, make sure you subscribe to Sky's channel. Make sure you follow him on Twitter. Get all the latest updates of No Capes Required, man. Because you want to stay in the know.
Yeah, so at 0 Capes Required and at Fly to the Sky 11 are the 2 Twitter accounts to follow. But that's going to do it for this week's episode. And what else can we say? We'll see you next time.